Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Community Day GUST Shadow STARAPTOR in the Great League. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, so many thanks for the battle submission. In addition to running GUST as the fast move, Shadow STARAPTOR will be running Close Combat and Brave Bird, giving it some serious one-shot potential. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out if GUST Shadow STARAPTOR is worth the investment for the Great League. Hopping into the first match, picking up a slightly positive lead, Drapion into Lickitung. Due to the typing, Drapion is going to be resisting Lickitung's fast move, which is quite nice, but Lickitung can still keep this a fairly close matchup just because of how tanky Lickitung is. Lickitung fires off the body slam, Drapion goes for the crunch, and the opponent safe switches into defense Deoxys, but Deoxys is not going to appreciate the crunch, and a second one will be enough to take out the Deoxys here. Drapion firing off the second crunch. DD has to shield if they want to get off the move. They lose CMP, and they're going to have to commit both shields if they want this Thunderbolt. Crunch gets the final shield, and now with a shield advantage, Shadow STARAPTOR looking incredibly deadly in the endgame. Thunderbolt is going to be able to take it out, and in comes Shadow STARAPTOR. One advantage to GUST over Wing Attack is GUST does a lot more fast move damage, so it does make Staraptor's job of farming down a lot easier. We know that they have the Lickitung, and they have a Medicham in the back. In comes Medicham into a Shadow Brave Bird. Goodbye, Medicham. In comes Lickitung. Lickitung trying to lick down, but these licks are double resisted by Shadow STARAPTOR. STARAPTOR shielding the body slam, going for the sweep, and it's going to be able to get it. Shadow STARAPTOR reaches the close combat, taking down the Lickitung, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, picking up a tough lead, Drapion into Nidoqueen. Having the Shadow Meganium in the back means that Drapion can't afford to switch out of this matchup. Fires off the crunch on the CMP tie to the Earthquake. Able to land it and gets the defense drop. That is quite nice. Drapion shields up. It's the Earth Power, and that's a huge shield, as this should allow Drapion to double up on the crunches, so that way, if the Nidoqueen wants to fire off a second Earth Power, they're going to have to give up both shields. Gets the shield, and wins CMP again with the back-to-back. Nidoqueen doesn't want to commit the second shield, and they get taken out. In comes Walrein, and honestly, this is a scary Pokemon to see because Walrein does very well against the backline. Crunch goes unshielded, does a nice amount of damage, but this Walrein is overfarmed quite a bit, and a Walrein with energy is very scary. In comes Shadow Meganium. Meganium farming up. Walrein overfarms as well and fires off just before Meganium is able to reach the Frenzy Plant. Meganium shields up, goes for the Frenzy Plant. This will either take out the Walrein or get the final shield. Does get the final shield, and from here, honestly, I think you can just blind switch Staraptor and hope that it has a good matchup versus whatever's in back. And it's a Trevenant! Trevenant getting absolutely melted by the GUST. Anything Trevenant throws out of its standard moveset is going to be resisted. Shadow Ball, no problem. Staraptor leaves with a close combat. Hello, Walrein. Goodbye, Walrein. And that is a good game. Neutral lead in the next match, Drapion into Medicham. Drapion's gonna stay in and fire off the crunch. Again, hoping for one of those defense drops. Crunch lands and gets the defense drop. That is very nice. Fires off crunch number 2 on what should be a CMP tie because the opponent didn't sneak through. Crunch gets the shield. And at this point, yeah, I think you just let this go. You just take whatever they're throwing. They go for the Ice Punch. An aggressive switch into Shadow STARAPTOR to get ahead on energy. Going to be shielding up the Ice Punch. That will be taking out the Medicham. In the back is Bastiodon. Staraptor not going to be able to get to 2 moves. Firing off the close combat. Close combat. Massive damage. Nearly one-shotting the Bastiodon. And able to get it very low. In the back is Vigoroth. And Shadow Meganium should have a very nice matchup here. Meganium firing off the Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant would do massive damage, gets the shield from the Vigoroth. Vigoroth is going to be firing off the Body Slam here, and they have quite a bit of energy. They fire it off. Meganium able to get to a second. Opponent overfarmed, and that will cost them dearly. Taking out the Vigoroth, and that is a good game. Tough lead in the next match, Drapion into Galvantula. Honestly, Galvantula has a ton of play against this entire team, so definitely not a fun Pokemon to see. Able to get a shield with the crunch. Lunge is only hitting for neutral, but it's still going to do massive damage because Galvantula is very attack weighted. Drapion should be able to reach the Sludge Bomb, but this is a cross poison Galvantula, and Drapion is going to be forced to commit the shield. The surprise factor from the opponent ends up paying off for them. Fires off the Sludge Bomb, gets the Galvantula quite low. Galvantula able to farm down. In comes Staraptor. Staraptor able to farm down the Galvantula, and now it has an energy lead. In the back is Talonflame. Staraptor not going to be able to reach the Brave Bird before they reach a Flame Charge. Fires off the close combat, gets the shield, and the Talonflame fires off the move. That is massive. And now, Shadow Meganium just needs to reach an Earthquake. Talonflame is going to be firing off another Flame Charge here, ramping up these Incinerates more and more. Shadow Meganium definitely in a tough spot here and goes for the Earthquake. This is single resisted. It should be enough to take out the Talonflame. It all depends what's in the back. It's a Swampert! Shadow Meganium able to close out the game, reaches the last second Frenzy Plant, vanquishing the Swampert, and that is a good game. Great lead in the next match, Drapion into Azumarill. Opponent safe switches into Walrein, and this is unfortunate because this team doesn't have a consistent response to a Walrein safe switch. Goes for the Crunch, lands it, and gets another defense drop. That is fantastic. This is enough for the Earthquake. Drapion shields it, and it is the Earthquake. That is a massive shield. Now Drapion can very safely overfarm and then fire off the Crunch. And with the defense drop, I think this KOs from this range. Walrein lets it through, and they bring in the final Pokemon, which is Registeel. This is where the energy lead on Drapion is going to be very nice, because Drapion should be able to reach 2 Crunches here, and gets another defense drop. RNG definitely in this Drapion's favor, going for the second Crunch, gets the shield, and Registeel is going to be firing off a move. This will be taking down the Drapion as they go for the Focus Blast. In comes Shadow Staraptor. Staraptor farming up and able to reach the close combat. This will easily be taking down the Registeel if they let it through. Registeel commits the shield, and at this point, I agree with this. I think you just let the Staraptor go, and Shadow Meganium is going to be able to close out this game. Meganium gets to the Frenzy Plant, and Frenzy Plant is going to be able to take down the Registeel here, but the opponent caught on the Azumarill. Very nice catch by the opponent, but that is not going to be able to save them. Meganium goes for another Frenzy Plant, takes down the Azumarill, bring back in the Registeel. Registeel not going to be able to reach 2 moves here. They go for the Focus Blast. Meganium shields it up, reaches the Frenzy Plant, and that will be game over. Shadow Meganium closing strong, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Drapion into Umbreon. This is a fairly neutral matchup across the board, and Umbreon is very tanky, so it is honestly pretty nice to catch it here, so that way the 2 shadows in the back can avoid it. Able to land the Sludge Bomb, and Umbreon is going to be firing back with a move. Last Resort won't be enough to KO here. The opponent is actually running Psychic on their Umbreon, which makes this a significantly better matchup for Drapion. Opponent firing off Psychic after Psychic. The Psychics do definitely add up here, but this is a situation where Last Resort would be significantly better. Able to land the Sludge Bomb, and now going for the Crunch bait, hoping to try and get the shield. Crunch goes unshielded, aggressive switch into the Shadow Meganium, but not able to Vine Whip down before the Umbreon is able to reach a move. Umbreon goes for the last second Psychic. In the back, they have Toxicroak, and this is a little unfortunate. Builds up close to the Earthquake, but decides to just go straight for the Frenzy Plant. Even a Shadow Frenzy Plant is going to do massive damage here, and Meganium is going to be hit with a Mud Bomb from Toxicroak. Toxicroak able to counter down, but now it is Shadow Staraptor time. Look at the gusts. Oh my goodness. In comes Azu. Shadow Staraptor going straight for the Brave Bird. Brave Bird gets the shield and brings in Drapion. And 2-shield Drapion should be able to take care of the Azumarill. And then it's just Shadow Staraptor gusting down that Toxicroak in the end game. Drapion overfarms quite a bit, going straight for the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb, massive damage, taking care of the Azumarill. Toxicroak tries to farm down, but they're going to be hit with the Crunch. Crunch gets them low. In comes Staraptor. Goodbye, Toxicroak, and that is a good game. Great lead in the next match, Drapion into Shadow Victory Bell, and the Victory Bell is actually staying in here, which is even better. Opponent is going to bring in Obstagoon, and Drapion is absolutely loaded. Goes for the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb, massive damage onto the Obstagoon, and able to reach another Sludge Bomb as well. If Obstagoon wants to get off this move, they're going to have to commit the shield. They let it go, and they get taken out. In comes the Victory Bell, getting absolutely shredded by GUST from Shadow Staraptor. Staraptor shields the Acid Spray. In the back, they have Galarian Stunfisk. And at this point, Shadow Meganium will be able to close out this match. Goes for the close combat and gets the shield. One downside of GUST is GUST does not charge as quickly as Wing Attack, meaning that you're not quite as spammy when it comes to spamming out the close combats. Firing off close combat number 2. At this point, the opponent has to give up that final shield, but all this does is just clear the way for Shadow Meganium to close out the match. In comes Shadow Meganium, and there's just nothing this poor G-Fist can do. Hopping into the next match, hitting Drapion into another Medicham. We've seen how this plays out previously, and it honestly works out pretty nicely for the Drapion, as Drapion can pretty consistently grab shields in this matchup. Goes for the Crunch, lands it, and gets another defense drop. This Drapion is absolutely going off in terms of defense drops. Medicham goes for the Power-Up Punch, and it looks like they're firing off Power-Up Punch number 2 on the CMP tie. Crunch gets the shield. Medicham just continuing to boost its attack more and more and more. Drapion lets it go. Aggressive switch into the Shadow Meganium, but this Shadow Meganium is getting absolutely shredded by power-up punches here. Shielding up, it's another power-up punch. Meganium goes for the farm down, and they're going to be forced to commit both shields as this Medicham is absolutely ramped up. In comes Melmetal, and Meganium is going for the Frenzy Plant bait. Frenzy Plant gets the shield. Meganium reaches the Earthquake, and this will be KOing the Melmetal. Earthquake one-shots in the back. It's Swampert. Meganium going for the Frenzy Plant. Loses CMP to Swampert. That is quite unfortunate. Shadow Staraptor is going to need to close out this match. In comes Staraptor. The switch and the catch onto Drapion. Oh my goodness. Able to tank it. In comes the Staraptor. Staraptor able to farm down. And that is a good game. Tough lead in the final match. Drapion into Shadow Walrein. Drapion staying in and farming up a bunch of energy. This is only an Icicle Spear, so Drapion is going to be letting that through because that's something Drapion knows it's going to be able to survive. Drapion very close to the back-to-back crunches. Fires off the first, gets the shield, and gets another defense drop. This is the most blessed Drapion I have ever seen. It won't stop getting defense drops. That ends up being a CMP tie. After getting both shields, Drapion is just content with bringing in Meganium. Opponent has their own Meganium, and it's going to get absolutely shredded by GUST. Opponent throws on alignment. A GUST is able to sneak through, shielding up the Frenzy Plant. Shadow Staraptor is incredibly frail. If they bring back in that Walrein, which they do, it's going to get absolutely vaporized by a close combat. Goodbye, Walrein. In the back, it's a Talonflame. I think Staraptor might get farmed down before the Brave Bird, so it's going to fire off the close combat. Close combat gets that Talonflame very low, and this should be Frenzy Plant range for the Shadow Meganium. Shadow Meganium shields the Flame Charge. Farms up a ton, goes for the Earthquake disrespect. You love to see it. Meganium taking out the Talonflame, and that is a good game. And now some final thoughts on GUST Shadow Staraptor. First off, this looks to be an incredibly fun Pokemon to play. GUST gives it a lot of farm down potential, and only having those nuke charge moves, it can be an absolutely devastating closer. The downsides are that the only charge moves that it has are charge moves that debuff its own defense. So if you're going up against something in the 2 shield, for example, you can't really afford to throw a charge move just because if you debuff your defense, odds are your Staraptor is probably going to get farmed down. So while this is an incredibly fun Pokemon to play, I would definitely list it more in terms of a spice pick than a Pokemon that you need to build for the Great League. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.